More and more people are discovering the unconditional love that comes with having a dog in their family. The terms fur babies and furry children are common in everyday language. However, this love and devotion, coupled with positive training techniques, has seen an incredible number of dogs commuting from the home to the office on a daily basis. Dogs have held jobs for centuries, helping humans in a variety of roles. But the tasks achieved by our talented pooches and their dedicated trainers are becoming even more remarkable. Working dogs come from all backgrounds and are found in every corner of the globe, from the hot Australian outback to the snowfields of North America. Every dog has a job, whether it's out on the beat or fetching a ball. This is a sight that may make you feel a little queasy. These little insects are scientifically known as Cymex lactularius, better known as bedbugs. They're parasites that love to nibble on our bodies while we're sleeping. But what has this got to do with dogs? Well, the most efficient way to find out if your house has bedbugs is by using a bedbug detection dog. And one man who knows a lot about bedbugs and the role dogs play in getting rid of them is Robert Gallo.
What we have set up here is our training facility for our bedbug dogs. So what we have here is big electrical outlets. So we'll actually put some bedbugs in here. There's some holes in here so that the odor comes out. So these are the fake baseboards where we can hide bedbugs in. And we'll take bedbugs and we'll hide them inside the mattresses, we'll hide them inside the box springs. We'll hide bedbugs in the lamps sometimes, in the drawers. In the hotel, sometimes we deal with areas that are too confined for the dog to get into, so sometimes they're scared to go in here and search, like back in this corner. So we'll put these beds up against the wall just to kind of see how the dogs are working and then try to get them to work inside these areas. When the dogs are searching for the bedbugs, what they're looking for is the odor of live bedbugs. So as the dog is searching and gets into what we call a scent cone, you're going to see a dog kind of just searching till he gets to that source of odor. Once they get to the source of the odor, then the dog will either scratch at the area, alerting to this is where the bedbugs are.
We love beagles because they're small, they're food-driven, and they just want to work. The reason why we use smaller dogs is because we do a lot of inspections in hotels, apartments, where sometimes we have to go into small spaces, and having a bigger dog makes it a little bit difficult. They are not like pets. They are working dogs that need to be respected as working dogs. You love them, you take care of them, you feed them, you play with them, but they are not pets.
Statistically, we're finding out that, for example, bed bug detection dogs typically are beagles. From what I've been told by different exterminators, visual inspection for bed bugs is virtually impossible. You see them less than 20% of the time. The people suffer from the bite, so they know that they're there, but they don't leave evidence of their presence. You just see the results. There are pheromone traps that can attract bed bugs because they're highly nocturnal, and those are only effective less than 50% of the time. Meanwhile, beagles, 90% of the time they're effective in detecting bed bugs. So this is one area where technology has not yet caught up with Mother Nature, and the nose of the beagle can do something that we can't do in any other situation, at least in bed bug detection, which I think is kind of a lot of fun.
They're very curious, motivated. They want to figure things out, so we look for that kind of a drive in a dog. We need a dog with a lot of energy that's able to inspect 150 rooms in one day. They love to work because to them it's not work, it's play. There's nothing like seeing a customer's face when they're terrified, they don't know what's going on. You arrive there with a dog, and the dog actually confirms something that they've been telling either their husband or a friend. Something's biting me, I don't know what it is. I can't see anything, I can't find anything. I've had 5 companies come, no one can help me. And we get there with a dog, in 5 minutes find this bug. And the joy, the relief. You know, it's not easy accepting that you have bed bugs, but at least you know that you're not going crazy. And that's what these dogs do.
The dogs work hard and sometimes for long hours, but there's a lot of respect for them as professional workers.
you want these dogs to feel loved. They do such an amazing job for us, and all they want is love. They don't get a paycheck. All they want is love. They can get food, but there's nothing like hugging that dog and just telling them thank you for everything that you've done for us, for our company, for our growth.
So hanging around with bedbugs for most of your day must leave you with a little bit of respect for these little biters.
What do I think of bedbugs? I don't know. There's so many things that about bedbugs that are great as far as for our business, but as far as for the public, not so great. It's a problem that has hit this country and I think the entire world now. I think on average now we're getting about 5,000 or 6,000 bedbug calls a year. It's a big problem. I believe right now Los Angeles is ranked number 4 in the nation as far as the worst infested cities in the country. Bedbugs is basically a parasite that likes to feed on human blood. The attractant to the bedbug is our body heat and the air that we breathe. They'll concentrate on the bedding areas, and then as the infestations grow, they'll spread out from there. They need to be close to a food source, and unfortunately for us, we're their food source.
Clarke Quay in Singapore is home to Pausability, a service for young people started by Maureen Huang and her trusty partner, Telly, the chief therapy dog. Telly has had quite a journey to Singapore, but her skills have made the travel well worth it.
Telly's a Labrador Retriever. She's 4 years old. I got her from Colorado in the US. So she's specially trained to be a therapy dog that works with children and youth. Telly was trained in a prison train program in Colorado where an inmate helped to train her in her basic obedience, and when she teamed up with me and then we taught her a lot of more skills that she needed in the therapy setting so that she can help children and youth through their problems and help them to overcome life's challenges.
For Maureen, Telly is more than a therapy dog. She's also her best buddy, and they formed a special bond. The ideal situation for young people seeking their help.
We do animal-assisted therapy, counselling work with children and youth, and we run social-emotional development programs for them. So we work with children and youth who have depression or anxiety or some anger issues, or we also work with people with special needs, kids on the autism spectrum. We do a lot of work building like self-esteem or social skills.
It's well documented how pets can benefit the development of children. Telly assists on the emotional, social, physical and psychological level, all of which help children attain their goals.
The children enjoy a lot of fun and games and activities with Telly. I think a lot of children in a counselling setting, they don't really enjoy just sitting down and talking to someone. They enjoy, getting up and moving about. The favourite activities for a lot of the teenagers is the obstacle course that we do with Telly. And so they will lead Telly through reef poles and jumps, and it's a lot of fun. At the same time, they're also learning about themselves. They're learning how to work as a team. Just from that simple activity, they draw life lessons out of it. With younger kids, one of the things that they really enjoy doing is a puppet show with Telly. We have a puppet show stand with little finger puppets, and they will tell their story to Telly. Telly's a very special dog. I think she has a friendly temperament, she's warm. The first time I met Telly in a prison actually, I was actually testing a few different dogs to be my partner for therapy. She ran up to me, she put her paw on me, she licked my face. She was very friendly and it was kind of like love at first sight, right? We put Telly through a lot of tests to make sure that she is really a good fit to be a therapy dog. So she's very friendly, she's confident, she loves people, which is one of the most important things for a therapy dog, to enjoy their job. You don't want a dog who tolerates what she's doing. You want a dog who really enjoys it, really enjoys meeting people and interacting with them. When she's with my clients, she instinctively knows what they need. When I run a group with children, Telly knows which kid in the group is feeling a little bit sad that day, and she'll go and sit by that kid. And a lot of times kids, they put up a lot of barriers and I don't even know sometimes how they are feeling. Telly knows which kid is feeling sad or blue, and she just comes and she sits next to that kid in the group, and that's her way of, reaching out to them.
Telly is one very busy dog. So after much searching, Maureen now has a second therapy dog, a newcomer to working life.
Hope is from a breeder in Australia who knew that we were looking for a therapy dog, and actually they did a really good job helping us to select a dog that they think would, be a really good fit for therapy, and they started socializing her really early on. So hopefully she would grow up to be a good therapy dog just like Telly.
One of the most popular draw cards of a holiday to the land down under is the cuddly koala. There are many photo opportunities across the country, and this fluffy marsupial is quite happy to put on a show for the tourists. But the koala population in Australia is on the decline. From the end of the 19th century up until the mid-1920s, the fur trade decimated population figures. More recently, habitat destruction, bushfires and road accidents have added to the dwindling numbers. However, leading the way in changing the statistics is Maya, a koala ecology researcher, and her main focus is koala poo.
Her job is to help me map and understand koala habitats. So where do koala live? Wherever they live, they poo, and so that's why it's very efficient for us to look for their poo. She's a poo dog. They poo a lot, and the poo stays around in the habitat for a long time. So for us, it was much more efficient to look at where koala were living by looking for their poo.
While studying for her PhD, Roman Christo came to realise that a human's ability to find koala scats in amongst the leaf litter was possibly not that efficient.
And I think it was to Roman's credit. She did 3 years of PhD on her knees looking for scats to the point of, you see, where she's like, I've had it. Surely there must be a better way. And it's often how innovation comes about. And she thought about the potential of training a dog to smell the scats.
Finding the perfect candidate was important. High energy, obsessive compulsive behaviour and wanting to play all day meant that Maya, a once abandoned shelter dog, got a new lease of life and a very loving home.
Straight away we knew her eyes would never leave the tennis ball. That's her reward, that's what motivates her to work with us. You have to have that balance between a very excited, playful dog, but very soft with animals, because you are working out there in the natural bush. The last thing you want is a dog that is actually chase wildlife or bark at wildlife. That'd be a disaster. But Maya was just awesome from start, from the word go.
The training is all about the target odour, which is what the scientists are after, and a tennis ball, which is Maya's favourite toy in the whole world. Through associated learning, Maya quickly learns that if she identifies the scat, she gets to play ball. It's a dream come true for Maya, and for the researchers, an incredible breakthrough.
So from a behavioural perspective, koalas are extremely cryptic, very often in low density, small populations, so it makes it really difficult to actually study them. So really for me, until Maya came about, it was almost mission impossible to do much with koalas.
So she helps because she's quicker at it, but mainly the important thing is that she's better at it. So she will find evidence that human team miss. And we did a scientific test of that. We had a team of humans searching for koala scats or the poo. We had Maya searching the same area. She found about 30% sites that were used by koala that the human had missed.
Whilst Maya is currently the top dog in the job, her training is ongoing, and she's also sharing the role with Baxter, Bear and Billie.
They live here with us, so we have a 4-dog, 1-cat house at the moment. We really value that bond that you create as a team. They all have their personality. So Maya, as I was saying, is perfect. She makes all the other dogs look bad. And Baxter is very cheeky, And so although he's very obedient, Bear is a digger, so he will dig himself out of any places and he will chew your house down. And Billie is a jumper. So they all have their little trick. Whether we're in koala habitat or not, they always get to play because that's their salary, basically. That's what they want. What they would like is me working 7 days a week. They don't really like weekends. They don't really like if I'm not going to work because they know that work is just the best time we could have. We're spending all the time together when we're working. We're spending all the day playing. So for them, it's still the best day is a working day where we're in the field. They like relaxing around, but if you walk towards the car, that's where they want to be, with you in the car, on the road.
These working dogs don't take their job seriously at all. But this is one workplace where that kind of behaviour is encouraged.
Maya has the ability to find the scats, and therefore we have the ability to extract information from the scats. So without seeing the koala, just finding its scats, we can extract genomic DNA, so DNA from the koala. We can have a look at genetic diversity, levels of inbreeding. So we can also look at disease. We can know its gender, is it a male or a female? To me, as being a geneticist, the poo is the gold, really. I don't even really need to see the koala, almost, we don't need to bother them.
Maya is an adorable bundle of energy who highlights the important role dogs have in both conservation and research, which in this case gives the scientists confidence in the data they're collecting.
Basically, I would never go out and collect the data without the help of Maya now. She just makes my job so much more efficient and more accurate. We have to remember how good they are and what they're doing.
I would say in our research lab, Maya has the top job, the most difficult job, but she's really one of the best that we have. We couldn't do the job without Maya, really, it's that simple.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Especially when said tough has 4 legs and arrests offenders for a living.
So I work with Odin, he's my general purpose full-time operational dog, and I have Stinger as well. He's a 6-month-old puppy that's in development, part of our puppy development program.
Working in the canine unit, Constable Simon Bradley is one of the best partners on the force. With a steely resolve and great reputation, Odin is at the top of his game when it comes to dogs with jobs.
Odin's a very serious dog. He doesn't give you much expression in his face. So he comes across as very intimidating, but when you get to know him, he can mingle around and not be too concerned about other people and just really wants a free pat, rub behind the ears. When he's at work, he's another different dog. He can turn on very quickly.
Being alert and on guard is essential to doing this job.
So Odin's trained to do a couple of things. One is to hold the suspect if the person stops running, and then he will hold them there by barking. But if the person continues to run, Odin's trained to detain the person, whether it be by biting an arm, a leg, wherever he can grab onto the person. He's able to make that arrest and hold the person.
In this scenario, the offender is hiding. After fair warning, Odin is given the go-ahead to seek and hold.
Just uses his sense of smell to indicate where they are, and then he'll bark at them and then go to where he's barking and then call the offender out. But if the person decides to get out and run away and I'm not there, Odin will make the decision to grab the person and detain him. Or if he has a go at Odin, he'll defend himself as well by biting the offender.
When you have a role that requires you to be multi-skilled in a variety of scenarios, you never quite know what your shift will bring.
So a working day, he'll get ready, he'll just put his harness and his collar on, he jumps in the back of the car and off we go to work.
Attending tasks is often first on the agenda, whether tracking a missing person through bushland or sniffing out a burglary. Then it's ongoing training, Obedience is vital for this job, and in all good partnerships, communication is key.
Mine are I think they're Dutch, or no, German maybe. Odin's a Dutch Shepherd, and he's come from someone who uses German or Dutch commands. So out would be aus. I'm probably going to get in trouble for not pronouncing them correctly, but that's the way I say it to him. Down would be Platz. Sit. Platz. He knows when he's very naughty or has done something wrong would be fully us.
Being a fully operational dog, Odin makes a great example for puppy in training Stinger, who is on track to be a top dog in the force.
He's probably on the total extreme different dog to Odin. Really confident in himself as being 6 months old. And we've had him since he was 12 weeks old, and he's just grown and developed into a really confident little puppy. He is very loud, he's boisterous. Even at home, he'll bark at the other dog at home. If he walks past with the ball, he wants to get out and play with him.
As the young kid on the block, Stinger often looks to Odin to show him the ropes, although Odin will put him in his place if required. Right now, they both know the pack order, but a German Shepherd is generally a larger breed than the Dutch Shepherd, so Stinger is going to have size on his side.
Things might change in the next few months when he starts getting to the same height and weight as him. We might have to change our minds on how we do things and go for walks together and things like that.
It's not all work for Odin and Stinger, but Shepherds are happiest when they have a task to do. They're not only well suited to a police role, they're often the dog of choice in the military, for search and rescue squads and in detection work. They're an intelligent and energetic breed who need a lot of exercise both physically and mentally. Plus they require a strong handler who in turn becomes the number one person they protect. Time out is important, but when it comes to clocking on, they're keen to get on with business.
We spend pretty much nearly all day together, just me and him in the car, and we do have a little microphone we can talk to each other through. So you're spending 9 hours together at work and then the home time as well. The bond grows really quickly and he gets to rely on you just as much as we're relying on the dog as well.
The worst time of my life was about a year after I had gone to treatment for an eating disorder. During that year, I had started working with shelter dogs and I experienced hope for the first time. It was the first time in almost 7 years that I had gone without binging or purging or restricting in any way. And unfortunately, I relapsed. And that was really devastating to me because I had a taste of what life was like without an eating disorder, and I just went back to it. Life got too hard, and I went back to the illusory comfort of bulimia, and unfortunately, for about 6 months, I was at my worst. I hit rock bottom, just became very depressed and hopeless, and the only reason I really got out of bed was because of the shelter dogs I worked with on a daily basis. That was really my only hope and my only joy left in life.
Dogs are known to give and keep on giving, and often it's said they sense when help and nurturing is needed. This is very much the story for Shannon, who has suffered with bulimia from the age of 16. Through her work at the San Diego Humane Society, she came to realise that she was the one being rescued.
Shelter dogs are my heroes. I admire them so much for their resilience and for their ability to love again. I've met so many animals that have not had a positive experience with humans and yet went on to embrace a new life with a new family. It speaks a lot to me because I needed to find a new life. I needed a fresh start. And shelter dogs teach you that love is the answer. And I'll just always admire them for that.
After many years of struggling with bulimia, Shannon had gained so much knowledge and information about how to recover, but not the answer on how to truly help herself.
I had gone to rehab, I had gone to therapy, and I knew I should take a walk or take a deep breath or say a prayer when I felt like I was going to binge and purge, but when it came down to it, I never could. I felt like a failure because I had gone to rehab, I had done close to 14 years of therapy, and I was still sick as ever. And the things I knew, like go for a walk or write in your journal or take a deep breath or say a prayer, things that therapists and doctors recommended when I felt these urges to binge and purge, I just couldn't seem to do it.
Shannon had almost accepted that this was a life sentence, that there was very little optimism for a cure, but a pit bull named Paloma turned her life around.
I discovered at the Humane Society there was one thing that I could do when these really strong urges to binge and purge came upon me, and that was to go see a dog. And I have a specific memory of one time when, after I had eaten a bunch of cookies and I was on my way to the restroom to purge, as I had done for so many years, so many times before, I thought of this shelter dog. She was a pit bull, and she thought she was a 10-pound lap dog, and I just wanted to connect with her. It was a feeling of love and also of being able to get outside of my own head for a moment and think about, how is she doing? Her name was Paloma. How is Paloma doing? And I went to her kennel and held her, and I just felt accepted. And during a time when I struggled to accept myself, during a time when I struggled to understand myself, these dogs accepted me and these dogs understood me. I didn't have to purge, and that was a huge discovery for me, and so I just kept turning to the dogs day after day after day. I'm so grateful I was in a place where I was surrounded by all these loving, non-judgmental, in my eyes, heroic animals that themselves had been through so much. And so that became my healing, that became my recovery process, that became the one thing I could do when everything else failed, and it worked.
As a child, Shannon had a deep love for animals, and to be able to reconnect with that strong link triggered the behavioural change she never expected.
Today, when I speak with people that are struggling with eating disorders, I often ask them, who were you before the eating disorder started? What did you love? What was your passion? And sometimes when we reconnect with that passion, whether it's animals or yoga or painting or music or writing, we start to find our way back to ourselves.
Bulimia ranges from mild to severe cases, which can potentially be life-threatening. It's not often about food or wanting to be thin, and there are usually many contributing factors.
I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had friends that experimented with bulimia, and my home life was really chaotic. I was longing for some sort of control, something I could focus on and do right. My father was an alcoholic and my family was falling apart, and I turned to first extreme dieting and then bulimia. And the disease got progressively worse as time passed, and I quickly realized that I had lost control around food and my body, because I would tell myself every day, just try to eat this way. Don't go to the bathroom after you eat. Stay in recovery, stay healthy. And yet day after day, I would break promises to myself, to my mother, to my sister. From an early age, it was a pretty severe illness, and I just struggled to find a way out of it for a real long time. Bulimia is a very cunning and baffling illness, and it affects so many people, and it's usually a very secretive and shameful illness. I didn't understand that an eating disorder is a mental disorder. I didn't know how many other people in the world were struggling with it. I just thought about myself and my struggles, and I was filled with shame. The dogs helped me to overcome my self-consciousness and my shame. In talking with them and feeling the relief that comes with telling the truth, I eventually learned that I could talk to people too, and my healing continued there.
For Shannon, this is a triumphant story. She's been able to overcome her illness, living a healthy life and helping others.
I never could have imagined my life today. I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, Noah Michael, about 6 weeks ago. I married the love of my life. I wrote Pound for Pound, and that book has connected me with people all over the world who share the same struggles and passion for animals that I do. After I healed from bulimia, it was really clear to me that I needed to adopt a shelter dog and fast. So I adopted Bella. She's a 6-pound poodle and absolutely adorable, comforting, and loving. She's a little crazy at times, but so am I, so we make a good team. and I'm just so grateful to have her in my life. I'm grateful now in a really strange way for my struggles with bulimia and depression because it's made me a more empathetic and compassionate person. When I think about Paloma or any of the shelter dogs that helped me get through a day with my eating disorder, I just feel overwhelmed. Even though I don't work at the San Diego Humane Society, I regularly volunteer with the shelter dogs, and it's so important to me because they bring me so much joy, so much comfort, and giving back to them is probably the most important thing I can do with my life because I wouldn't be here if not for their love. And it was never their intention to save my life. They did so in just being themselves. And I believe they can rescue all of us if we just give them a chance.
When you hit retirement, sometimes it can be hard to fully let go of the working life routine. So downsizing is often a good option when you still want to keep your paw in the game. And Jopke has found the ideal role. She is the newest staff member at the much-loved Treasure Kindy, with very laid-back working conditions.
She's very, just easygoing. They can lay on top of her. They can do whatever they want, I think, actually. She will never get aggressive. She will just be like, oh, all right, just sit on me and I'll be fine. That's her main quality, just be an easy, friendly dog. And if she wants to play, she will go. But especially now when she's a bit older, she's like, just sit with me and stroke me and pet me and I'm good.
Designed for 3 to 4-year-olds, Treasure Kindy focuses on allowing each child to explore and learn in a creative environment. Introducing a dog provides another dimension of education.
I think it's a good way to teach them how to take care of your pets, how to give her a good life, give her food, water, love, attention. Walk with them, so it's good exercise as well. It's good when children get involved with dogs. I mean, they don't have to like them, but it's good because they're all around us, so it's good how to handle a dog so that you never go straight to a dog and just, especially when they're this tall and they're the same height as the dog, it can be very imposing on the dog. So it's a good way of teaching them how to get along with a dog even if they don't have one at home. And they always should be careful because you never know what kind of dog you'll meet.
Jopke is a 10-year-old Frisian Steveenhound, a breed originating from the Netherlands that makes a great family pet. The Steveenhound is loyal, loves to be around people, and is considered to be very gentle with children. They can be a little stubborn at times, but are generally easy to train, keen to please, and like to be busy. Although, when you're 10, the work-life balance leans more towards a little extra snoozing. Jopke is a well-travelled pooch. A year after she was born, she moved from the Netherlands to the United States, where she worked as a therapy dog. She now lives in Australia and has come out of retirement to help Janine and Sheila around the Kindy.
A lot of kids are very shy, and because Jopke will find a corner where she would lay down and just rest a little bit and sleep a little bit, you see children go towards her and just sit with her and, talking to her or, having their thoughts. It gives them a lot of calmness, but, they're not just going towards her, but gently now and then they would go up to her and do something with her, like Tiela giving her the egg or the little toys. I think that's just wonderful, and she's so kind and friendly, she doesn't mind.
When we lose a loved one, the visit to the funeral home can be a tough time. This is something Billy the Border Collie Keltie Cross knows all too well. His job is just to be there in your time of need. Seeing a dog during grief is probably what most people wouldn't expect, but this is no simple job. Billy has an important role to play.
It is full-time. He does come in every day, and if I'm not here, then one of the other staff members takes care of him. I mean, obviously funerals are a horrible thing for people to be going through, and if he can help in some way by just being him, then it doesn't hurt people. Animals definitely having a calming effect. It was by accident that Bill started doing that. and he excels at it. He really knows that that's his job, and that's what he seems to just fit into. Just to help settle workplaces, yeah, animals are great.
Dogs can often sense who needs their attention the most, and it's the children who are the first to recognise the role that Billie plays at a funeral service or a viewing. These can be tense, uncomfortable situations, and Billie's job is to ease this tension a little bit, even if only for a moment.
I think offering comfort and love to people who need it is probably the most important job that a dog can do. We can compensate for everything else. We can lead our people across the street. We can do most of the jobs we ask a dog to do. We can find people to do those jobs as well. But the special kind of comfort comes from a dog.
Dogs do have an amazing ability to put people at ease, particularly when all does seem lost. For the staff at Chipper's funerals, having Billie around also helps them deal with the day-to-day loss of people and the pain they can sometimes experience being a part of the process.
We give every family 100% of us, and at times we need just to find our own space as well, or to remember that there's really nice in the world, and he definitely helps us to do that. He runs between every person getting his pats. First thing in the morning, he's at the top of the stairs. He knows the different steps and he's there waiting for people. He definitely knows what's going on. He knows when we're going to see Kerry as to which way to go, you know. He knows the office building.
It was Elaine Smith, a registered nurse in New Jersey, who first saw the role that dogs could play in helping people. In 1976, she began an organisation devoted to the training of therapy dogs. Now, over 34,000 dogs in America alone work in this important career. A dog in a funeral home just makes sense. It is the one place where true grief comes to stay, and yet young Billie makes the occasion just that little bit more acceptable. And so many others have now become his friend. And thanks to Bronwyn, Billie will be around much longer, assisting the visitors to Chipper's funerals. Our link to our canine companions may be even closer than you think. We all know dogs are bright, but their intelligence could prove to yield more about the human health condition than studying our own brains.
The current research that I'm doing concerns cognitive abilities, and especially those of dogs. I thought that it would be quite easy to measure intelligence in dogs, and if we could do that, it would be interesting both for learning about the structure of intelligence, but also would have some medical implications for human disease.
Rosalind is a research associate at the London School of Economics, studying the cognitive abilities of our furry friends, in order to learn more about the link between health and intelligence.
Dogs, rarely among mammals, are one of the species that naturally acquire dementia in old age, just as we do. Significantly, many of the symptoms, the behavioural symptoms and the brain level changes in dogs match that of humans very, very precisely. So we've known for about 20 years that dogs are a good natural animal model for learning about dementia.
Rosalind's research looks into the relationships between lower intelligence in childhood being a strong predictor of the risk of dementia in adulthood. And our intellectual best friends are the perfect animal to model these on.
If we can learn about disease processes in dogs and disease outcomes in older age, we can find out what perhaps is an effective way to reduce the risk of dementia and work towards treatments and understanding the disease itself, and it could be a tremendous advantage in dementia research.
To begin, Rosalind and her team develop a series of tests involving finding hidden food, determining thought processes when choosing quantity of food, navigating around obstacles, and understanding and interpreting human cues.
We were looking to see, principally, whether a dog that was proficient at one kind of test was also proficient in another kind of test, because we thought these tests were tapping into slightly different abilities. For example, the test to discriminate between two different quantities of food, we thought, well, that's kind of a quantity discrimination test, which is a different ability to navigation. And the last one was following a human gesture, which is more of a social cue. So we wanted to know, well, are dogs that are good at the detour test also going to be good at the discrimination or the social cue test? And we found that to some extent they were, and that there was no trade-off between speed and accuracy. Intelligence and learning aren't separate from one another. Intelligence informs how quickly you can take up something new, and we'll do that with Lasker.
I think he's an intelligent dog because he does learn things very fast, and also because he's a working breed.
Lasker is an altogether different breed, an Alaskan Malamute and German Shepherd mix who's proven his intelligence in how quickly he learns new tasks.
So what we're going to do is put a food treat one side of a barrier, the park bench, and Lasker will go the other side, and we'll see how long it takes Lasker to figure out that to get the food treat, he's got to go around the barrier, make a detour in other words, test his navigation abilities. Dogs that figure out how to get round a barrier to get the food treat that they want quickly tend to be brighter than dogs that take a really long time to figure it out or just give up altogether. So this doesn't look like a very difficult task, but believe you me, I've seen dogs that can't figure out how to find their way around a simple barrier. And this isn't how we run our scientific studies, but it's a nice illustration of the fact that Lasker very quickly thought, well, I'll just go around the edge, whereas some other dogs might have been a bit more confused and taken some time to figure out, I know, I'll go around the park bench and that way I can get my food.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he did so well because he does learn things quite quickly.
Rosalind's work has only just begun, but the results are already clear that working with dogs is an enormous paw in the right direction.
In a cradle-to-grave study with people, we'd need 90 years. With a dog, we could do that in about 15 years. So the dog has tremendous advantages to add to what we know about dementia and the course of disease.
And really, who wouldn't want their office to consist of working with dogs to better the canine and human race?
I love doing this work because it feels like a win-win for two different species, and it's focused on a trait that is just intrinsically interesting. We know that much of our lives comes out of this 2 pounds worth of squishy stuff in our head called the brain, and so learning about how that works and how it changes over time is naturally interesting. Connecting with other species is fabulous, and knowing that this could possibly contribute some small part of the puzzle to understand a complex, serious disease is just great to think that we could add something more to the table.
Trust and consistency is key when it comes to having a dog in the workforce, whether on the front line with police or searching for koala poo. Having the drive to focus and maintain that interest makes these dogs ideal candidates for a top job. Odin and Stinger never miss a beat, and Maya's obsessive-compulsive behaviour has saved her from a life in a shelter and made her a superstar in the canine world. Telly and Billie both have a caring, nurturing side that makes them shine in their roles of therapy and counselling. They both help to make a big difference to the people they work with, delivering wonderful results. Then there's the ever-eager-to-please beagles, who spend their days sniffing out bedbugs. A revolting job, but someone has to do it. And it's a job they do with enthusiasm and great success. Looking after humans is certainly one of the top jobs for dogs. Their love and devotion is second to none. The shelter dogs that rescued Shannon showed just how amazing their support can be. Yopka is helping the kindy kids in education, and at the other end of the scale, dogs are helping with research into dementia. Whatever the task, there's always a top dog on the job.